Hello and welcome to the Disable the Label podcast. I'm your host, Kerry, and on our podcast we'll be chatting about all things disability, holidays, equipment, therapy, funding, you name it, and we'll talk about it. We want to empower and support parents of disabled children across the UK whilst they navigate their child's life. So, what are we waiting for? Let's get into it. This podcast is sponsored by Walk This Way Global. Their techniques are focused, specific, and designed to strengthen and condition the body to be able to move more freely and with more confidence and control. If you want to find out more about Walk This Way Global, find them on our app, Disable the Label. On today's podcast, we have Adam Hayes, a DJ, sportsperson, sports coach, and disability awareness speaker. Adam has come to chat all things disability and his story. Let's get into it. Right. Hello and welcome to the podcast. Today we have Adam. Adam, welcome.
Hi guys, how you doing? Right?
Adam got in touch with me via our podcasting on YouTube and said that he would love to be on one of our shows. So here he is. So I'm going to let Adam introduce himself because I'm sure he knows himself better than I do because I've never met him.
You would think so, but I'm not sure. Well, my name's Adam. I have cerebral palsy. I come across your amazing podcast, and I thought to myself, well, because I've written a book and I'm a DJ, I've got to get on this podcast. And I'm no one special. I'm just me. I live life to the full. I grew up on a council estate with two brothers, one sister. Um, I got in as much trouble, if not more, than my siblings, which is always good when you're in a wheelchair. Because people don't expect you to do it. But I did, so there you go. Yeah, and that's I I I really like to inspire other young disabled people to live their life just the way they want to live. And then so I went to a mainstream school, and then a specialised school and college, Trelaws, which I know you know David Smith,
Yeah.
which is the podcast I watch, and I know David really well, so yeah, we go way back.
Amazing.
Yeah, and he's a great guy as well. I mean, yeah, he's had a lot of success.
Yeah, totally.
So have I to be fair. I mean, I've DJ'd at some big clubs in Brighton, London. I played at my first festival last year, which was amazing. I mean, and I've had a pretty successful sports career as well. I've trained with England bocce team. I've
Amazing.
competed at regional and national levels at both bocce and athletics. Um, and yeah, I just love life and don't put any barriers in front of me. If there is a barrier, I try and wheel over it.
Love that. Absolutely love that. So let's kind of rewind and kind of find out a little bit more in depth about your diagnosis, when you got it. So tell me about, so you have cerebral palsy. How old were you when you got diagnosed? Do you know?
Well, the first time I got told was when I was like 5, maybe.
Okay.
Because obviously my parents knew when I knew something wasn't quite right, So they took me to the doctors because I was screaming in agony and pain, and like I was screaming more than a baby normally would. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So
Yeah.
so obviously my mum thought there's something dodgy here. So she took me to the doctors, and they done some tests, and then that's when they said, yeah, I've got CP, cerebral palsy, you know. But
Yeah.
ever since then, uh, we've tried to maintain a normal life and just ride with the storm, you know. But
Mhm.
you know, it's there's been good and bad bits, like in everyone's life. But yeah, if my family weren't the way they were with me when I was growing up, um, I think life would be a lot more uh, different than it is now, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. So your childhood, um tell me about it. How was it? Like, what were your ups, what were your downs? And obviously I know you said you went to both a mainstream school and then obviously you went to Trelawney Special
Yeah.
School College. So tell me a bit about like that. Like, how was that for you going to a mainstream school? Did you struggle at anything? Did you excel at
So
other things?
so for me, I went to a no standard play school, and then I went from there to a mainstream school. So when I went to both play school and mainstream school, I I I, I knew that I was different to everyone else.
Hmm.
But the thing is, I made it look like I wasn't, if that makes sense,
Hmm.
because I challenged myself to everything everyone else was doing, even if I had to adapt how I would do it, I would still give it my best shot. If that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Love that. I absolutely love that. Like, that is what I instill in all the
Uh,
kids that I used to work with.
yeah.
So that's amazing.
I mean, and the other thing for me was I, I, my family, my family didn't treat me any different to my brothers or sister or my other friends. So if I did something bad, my mom would still slap me around the head or ground me so I couldn't go out and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it was pretty, in that respect, it was pretty run of the mill kind of average normal. But the real big turning point for me was um, as I got older, um, my friends started to be more adventurous, like climbing trees and all that kind of thing,
Mhm.
which for me I found at first pretty hard to deal with because all I wanted to do was climb a tree,
Yeah.
and then the sudden realization, oh crap, I can't. So yeah, but I still adapted so I could be involved. So what
Mhm.
I did, if my friends were really short and struggled to climb, I used to position my wheelchair against the tree so they could climb on it and get up the tree that way. So at least then I could still be involved in
Love
some
that.
kind of way,
That's
you
brilliant.
know. So,
Absolutely rich.
so
So,
I just
can I ask your ability when you were younger? Were you in a wheelchair full time? Have you always kind of been in a wheelchair? Because
um
obviously everybody with CP is different.
so so, so from the early day I had a lot more movement than I have now.
Mhm.
So I used to walk with a walker called a tradie walker,
Okay.
and basically I was strapped to a frame, and the frame would attach to some wheels, and 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 then I would wear like caliper kind of boots things, and then I would be able to walk, and then that continued until I was like 10
Okay.
or so, and then I then my muscles got worse, tightened up, and then um I tried my best to carry on, but and I was a stubborn, you know what, so and I didn't like to give up easily,
Yeah.
so the doctors and the physios said I think it's time that you listen to your body and uh, use the wheelchair full time.
Okay.
And like at that point, I really realized, wow, I am a little bit different, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think
But
being in a wheelchair does massively change that, doesn't it? Like walking, like even just
yeah,
walking
yeah,
with an aid makes you feel a lot more independent. And I feel like a wheelchair, instantly you're dropping down height. So like you might not be the same height as other people, or you might be sat in your wheelchair and everyone else sitting on the floor. You can't get under certain tables. Like there's so many barriers
yeah,
that
yeah,
it brings. But at the same time, a wheelchair can also give you so many more opportunities. You could go further afield, or like so
yeah, yeah,
it's a balancing
exactly.
act, isn't it? So yeah.
I mean, like one thing, like I really found amazing, like especially when I was a kid, um, like everyone loves a freebie, don't they? Like so,
Yeah.
because I was in a wheelchair, like all the kids were like paying £1.50 or 99p for an ice cream, and then I would rock up on my wheels and be like, "Yo, Ian, can I have an ice cream, please?" And he was like, "Yeah, of course you can." I was like, do you want some money?" And he's like, "No, don't worry about it." So I, I got free ice cream,
got you
from the
got to
ice
see the
cream man.
bonuses.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Perks of being disabled, guys.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Okay.
yeah,
So you struggled when it came to like, I suppose, age 10. I have to say probably around age 10 is when I see a lot of the kids struggling a little bit more.
yeah, yeah,
Some kids feel that they're different, very very different,
yeah,
younger age, but 10 it seems to be that
yeah,
age where, one, your hormones are kicking in anyway, so you're much more aware of things, and two,
yeah,
that it's that kind of age when, like, 11, 12, you're going to secondary school, and that is a
yeah,
massive jump anyway, but then having a disability and jumping into secondary school is even harder. So that was the kind of
yeah,
time,
yeah.
was that the kind of time you went to Trelaws, or did you not go to Trelaws late until later on in
So,
life?
so back in the late 90s, early 2000s, like, oh, I'm showing my age now, right? So, back then, I went to um, mainstream school until year six, and then I then had to move schools to join year seven.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, God knows why. I just mean that's the way the system was. It didn't make sense because if I could do 6 years, why couldn't I do the last year? You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it wasn't up to me, so I had to do what the Lord said and move on, kind of thing. Um, but at that point, I was at a crossroads because the authorities wanted to send me to the uh, senior uh, high school mainstream
Mm-hmm.
kind of school, and then my parents, mainly my mum, wanted me to go to Trelaws, the social services didn't agree, like they all like they tend
Yeah.
to do all the time, you
Yep.
know. But yeah, so my mum had to have a tribunal, and this went on for some time, and then they finally gave up and said, "Okay, you win. You're going to Trelaw." So I was like, "Cool," and then like it got to the time where um I was about to leave home and all that kind of stuff, and like because it would have been my first time away from home, um I was like kind of kicking off because I didn't want to leave home. I didn't want to leave all my friends. I wanted to see them at weekends and
Yeah.
all that kind of thing. Still get up to my old tricks. Um, but going away kind of thing, I couldn't do that. So as it was, my bus arrived to take me, what I said, to prison at the time. Um, uh, yeah, and then um, my mum told me it was, "I'm sending you here because of your bad behaviour." That's what she told me
Oh.
to begin with. So that's what I always thought
Mm-hmm.
until I realised, no, you didn't send me away for bad behaviour. Um, but I was still young at that point, so
Yeah.
um, my level of understanding was a bit limited. Um, so I arrived at Trelaw, and I kid you not, like I rolled into that place, and I was like, wow, what is this you sending me to? Like it was like Hogwarts.
Yeah.
Like
I was gonna.
I was,
I was wait.
yeah,
I was
like,
waiting for you to say that. That's literally like, yeah. The comparison is let's
yeah,
compare it to Hogwarts because it
yeah.
is. It's the real life version, especially for anybody with a disability.
So
It's
like I walked into this place, and I was like, shit, I've never seen something like this before. like 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 what have you done, mum? Why have you sent me here? Like, I, you do know I'm not gonna get on a broomstick anytime soon. Like, yeah, and then as time went on, like I really I, to be honest, I really struggled to begin with because I was always around able-bodied people,
mm-hmm.
and it was a big change for me. Like going from playing out on the street to being really restricted and not allowed to leave the site and all
Mm-hmm.
that. Because my mum, talking about treating me no differently, she at the age of like 9 or 10, she used to send me to Tesco with the shopping list, you know,
Yeah.
and I used to get a personal shopper, and get my mum shopping for her. You know what I mean? So to go from that to being not able to leave the site, it was quite frustrating. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
um
They're
uh,
very
um
they're very kind of hot on, which as most schools are, especially a special school, like kind of health and safety and knowing where you are and that
yeah,
kind of thing. I know that there are goings on,
yeah,
or has been in the past goings on, where people can,
yeah,
trick their ways out of things and stuff. But at the first point when you see that,
yeah,
that's a dramatic difference for you, going from like kind of
yeah,
doing what you want to having really kind of restrictive rules.
yeah. I mean, like, I soon realized that, um, okay, maybe I need to relax a little bit and maybe follow rules, but at the same time, I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to change me as a person. Because I've always been the kind of guy who, if there's a rule, it's there to be broken, right? So,
Yeah.
um, so I did my best to stay on the right side of special school law, but I did struggle at times.
Yeah.
Um, but to be honest, if, if it wasn't for Trelaw and my own perseverance and my family and everything, I wouldn't be the person I am today.
Yeah.
I certainly wouldn't have written a book and DJed at some amazing places and all that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So, was Trelaws the reason that you got into sport, and like, is that how you got into sports?
Um, in a way, there's two parts to this story, yeah? Because I've always been into sports.
Mm-hmm.
I just wasn't allowed to play it at
Yeah.
my mainstream school because uh because I had wheels. They thought I would run someone over, like you know what I mean. So when everyone else was playing football, I I had to do maths or something. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay. Yeah.
How, how, like so the way I played sport at mainstream, which is what I mentioned in my book. I used to go out at break time with my friends on the field and playing goal,
Oh
and
yeah.
they would shoot the ball at me, and sometimes it went swimmingly well. Other times, other times I went in with a numb face. You know what I mean? But
Oh my god.
like kind of
I can only imagine. The thing is, I can also imagine that you would run somebody over if they were in your way when you were playing football with them. But at the same time,
yeah, but,
school should have
mm,
differentiated that for you so that you could join in. Like, there's no
yeah,
reason. Like,
yeah.
you would do your best
Um,
not to run somebody over in that sense. But you can't help it if a toe gets in the way of your wheelchair, can you?
no. Well, that was a bit stupid, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
why would you put your toe there? um
I'm trying to play sport.
yeah,
you know.
exactly. That is such a shame, and like, I don't think that's changed. My experience of the kids that I've worked with in the past going to a mainstream school, until I got there as a
Yeah.
therapist, people just couldn't differentiate stuff for them, which is really frustrating,
No,
because
no, no.
you can totally join in, it's just not going to look the same. Or you can be in goal, but then they put you in goal, they would then worry about you getting hurt, and it's like, well, if like, just as a child, you would put any child in goal, that anybody could get a ball to
Yeah,
their face. Like, that's just football, right? So,
yeah,
okay, it's more likely to happen if someone's in a wheelchair, but like, if they're okay with that, if their parents are okay with that, surely that's good to just, try. So that's a shame that that happened to you. But did that then change then when you went to Trelaws?
yeah. Well, massively actually, because there was a thing that they used to do as enrichments after after school hours, and one of those was boccia, and I'd never ever heard of this thing before. So I said to the tutor at the time, what the hell is boccia? Like, how do you say it? Bocce or boccia? Like, like, that's how I spoke to her at the time. And she said, oh, I reckon you might quite like that. And so, anyway, I went along thinking, well, this is a load of balls. Like, and I played a couple of ends against some students, and I found I was actually pretty good at it. So I was like, oh, this is quite unique. I'm good at something without being restricted. This is
Yeah.
cool. And the Sandra King at the time, um, she was like, I can see potential in the way you're playing, and I was like, really? I've only been here like half an hour. What are you on about? And she was like, no, your accuracy and the way you're releasing with your arm. And at the end of it, I thought nothing of it. I just thought, ah, what was she going on about, kind of thing. And then like the next day, she stopped me in the corridor and go, I would quite like you to come to bocce squad training. I was like, okay, fair enough, whatever, do what you say, miss, kind of thing. And I went there, and the rest is history, really. Like, and then I started to compete for the school, which was the first time ever I competed in a competition for anyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a really good experience, and it defined my the rest of my time at Trelaw. Really, like
Yeah.
sport was and still is a massive part of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, so uh, and it was a way of me um kind of expressing myself. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 totally. So, how did you get into DJing then? Tell me about that.
Oh, okay. So this is quite long winded. So when I've been into dance music and electronic music since I was the age of 5. Um, and the first track I ever heard was Faithless Insomnia. Um, and when I heard the melody and the riff from the breakdown, I was like, wow, I'm in heaven kind of thing.
Mhm.
And I was just laying on the floor because when I was younger, I spent a lot of my time on the floor, stretching my body out and stuff. Because like
Mhm.
being in a wheelchair, like being like trapped, strapped in all the time,
Yeah.
it gets pretty intense. So I used to like just lay on the floor listening to my brother's music when he weren't about. And yeah, and I just got into dance music from there. And then before I went to Trelaw, or it might have been while I was at Trelaw, at the age of 12, 13, I got my very first pair of uh, Gemini CDJs, which are a pair of mixing decks. And
Nice.
yeah, and then I thought to myself, to start with, this looks like a spaceship, and so what do I do, kind of thing. And then because I'm I'm a one-handed DJ. I had to like teach myself the best way for me to do it,
Mm-hmm.
and 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 I did. I did that. The first couple of mixes sounded like the M25, um, which um, which wasn't pleasant for the ears. Um, uh, but like with it over time, my brother, because he had a pair of vinyl 1210s, he kind of taught me like the basics kind of thing. And then, because I went to Trelaw, I kind of fell out of that circle a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but I was still into my music massively. Like, I've got every like Dave Pearce trance anthems album you can imagine. I've got it, and I used to play it loud and proud at school,
Yeah.
and all the students, all the staff knew when I was about because my music would just be on, and like music is such a great way to be able to relax and
Mm.
put put things into perspective. I mean, and I did that a lot, and yeah. So then um I when I went home at weekends, I then the first thing I did was I went on my deck, um, started to practice. Then my mate started coming round from the street, uh, and he would have a go, and like we would just be jamming, like just normal teenagers kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then my mum would say, "Can you turn that crap down?" kind of thing. And so naturally, I turned it up. Yeah,
Oh, my hand
yeah,
just slipped the wrong way.
yeah. Sorry, my spasm. Yeah.
Yeah. Love it.
um, yeah. So then, um, when I went to uh, the college, I then became one of their radio station regular DJs. Um,
Nice.
so I did that until I left. Basically, I did a weekly dance anthem show where I was like, "You're not meant to do it," and I hope there's no teachers listening to this when it goes out. But what I used to do was take my CDs into class and burn them onto a onto a, um onto a little disc thing that I would take in the studio and just play my tracks from there. Like, but yeah, I, I, I don't know if that was allowed. Probably not. But oh well.
Who cares,
Yeah.
eh?
So I really enjoyed. Yeah, exactly. Who cares? Rules are there to be broken. Um. So like I did that for a while, and then so that kept me in the loop, and then all the digital stuff started coming out, and yeah, um, it was a lot easier to download music from that point
Yeah.
because the quality of the audio from burning CD to CD um, was not the best, but you had to do what you had to do. Um, and then, like, yeah, my professional journey uh, for DJing actually started in the first lockdown um, because I had my own sports business before that. coaching people all sorts of disability sport and helping my community in a big way of doing that. So,
Amazing.
but because of COVID, and everyone was too scared to go out, my business kind of didn't last the COVID pandemic
Mm-hmm.
because I had to be careful. I had to be careful of my clients' health concerns and their
Yeah.
disabilities as well. So I tried to do it online, but and I did a few sessions online, but there's only so much you can do online. To be a coach, you
Yeah.
really need to coach in person. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So I was like, and the work kind of dried up a little bit. So I was like, what else can I do? What else? Like, there must be something else. And I had a DJ controller already. Um, and I was just DJing on Facebook Lives and Twitch and all that. And then I saw an advert for for a radio DJ. Thinking, you know what, I'm gonna apply for that, and and
Nice.
and I did, and I did thinking, oh, he ain't gonna come back to me. Like, but within like half an hour, he was like, yeah, can you send me a mix, please? And I sent him a mix, and he goes, yeah, I can offer you a 2 hour slot on a Monday. I was like, all right, let's go. And yeah, that's when my professional journey started. Right, so yeah,
Amazing. Wow. That's just so cool.
um,
Like, it just shows that having stuff that you just enjoy doing can always end up
yeah,
becoming,
mm,
something that can
yeah,
pay you. Obviously, that's what people dream of, right? Like, you were like, well, I'd
yeah,
love to be a DJ doing that as well, like if I can't do the sport. But you don't expect it to happen.
yeah.
So I like that's
No,
amazing.
no, no.
Well done you. So how then did
Thank you very much.
no worries. How did it come about that you wanted to write a book?
Um, well, I've always been toying with the idea, but I never thought, oh, can I be asked to write a book? Um, but but there's always a time and a place, right?
Yeah.
So, and the way it come about was my friends kept asking me loads of questions. How do I do this? How am I so successful at doing this? Blah blah blah. Can you help me do this? Can you help me do that? And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna put it down as notes to begin with,
Mm-hmm.
and then the notes turned into longer sentences, and those longer sentences turned into what now is a book. So,
Amazing.
um, and I'm gonna be completely honest with you now. Like, writing my book has been the best therapy in my life. Like, there's all this stuff about you need a counselor, you need this, you need that, but anyone that is struggling, like who watches this, who struggles to deal with their emotions and how to comprehend things, um, my best advice would be just to write your feelings down on a bit of paper because that's exactly what I did. And like a year later, I got a book.
Yeah.
So and it's been the best therapy I could ever have, like
That's
on a
amazing.
personal level, on a personal level, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
totally.
and I'm not ashamed to say I've had therapy, counselling for years to help me guide me through life at times. Uh, because like of family life's been a bit difficult and like
Mm-hmm.
ups and downs and like not necessarily to do with my disability, just in
General.
general because
Yeah. Life's
yeah
hard, isn't
yeah yeah
it? Life's not an easy thing for anybody.
no
But yeah.
and the biggest thing you can do is shout for help if you need it. Like and and that's what I did. And from the age of 12 to 29, I was in therapy every week because I needed someone to vent my problems to
Mm-hmm.
at times, and I needed an avenue to be able to do that. And Trelaws offered it as part of what they offer,
Yeah.
and I took them up on that, and I needed them because just to help me like manage my everyday emotions because being at Trelaw, I did miss my family. I did miss hanging out with my friends and doing stupid stuff like playing conkers like knock down ginger and all that. I missed it,
Yeah.
and I found it very hard to deal with. Like so, yeah, and and since I've written my book, like I've not needed therapy,
Amazing.
um, because all the stuff that was embedded in me and that I wanted to get out and I wanted to express to people how I truly felt without them interrupting or saying, no, you can't say that, you'll get told off, kind of thing. You know, my book was an opportunity for me to do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But
Amazing.
the, the, the best advice I can um, give any uh, aspiring authors, whether you're disabled or not, is get an independent scribe if you're disabled, or do it away from anyone that could potentially influence your feelings when
Yeah.
writing a book. So ultimately, what I'm trying to say is you need to allow yourself to be a free spirit, so you can literally just have verbal diarrhea and say what the hell you like.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's interesting because
Yeah,
what people don't realize, you can put your own opinion on what somebody else feels. One
yeah,
person will feel that something happened in a certain way and another person would not agree with that, but doesn't mean that either are wrong, just that you have different experiences at that moment in
yeah,
time. So what's your book called then?
yeah. Um, 30 years of me. I don't know if that's the right way up, but
Yeah,
can
that's the
you
right
see
way
that?
up. 30 Years of Me. And
Yeah,
how
yeah.
can
That.
people buy it?
Well, you can buy it on Waterstones, Amazon, uh, WH Smith's from from my management direct. Yeah, from me direct. Yeah,
Amazing,
so far.
amazing. So, okay then, what would you've given a lot of advice anyway in this podcast, but one piece of advice for a child that might be in a similar situation to you, whether that's disability or something, I don't know. What would that be?
Um, freedom of expression. Um, so however you express yourself, feel free to do it. And to the parents who 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 might be worried about, but if they do that, they won't be safe. how are they meant to learn that what they're doing is a mistake if you don't allow them the opportunity to do it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Like, can't agree with you more. So what advice then would you give separately from that to parents with a child with a disability? Or is it going to be similar?
Just let them be them and let them be free, and don't worry about it, because they were a child once and with no restrictions, and because they've got a disability, they shouldn't be treated any different.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Thank you so much. How can people follow you or find you?
How can people? So I'm on Instagram at DJ_wheels, as in wheels on a wheelchair. I'm on Facebook under my unofficial name, Adam Burden. And I've also got a DJ Wheels DJ page. Yeah.
Awesome.
If you want to,
I'll write all of those in the show notes as well, so that people can find you, all the links as well.
and I've also got a Linktree account which is attached to my Instagram bio, where you can like keep up to date with my latest gigs and content and radio shows and like my mixes and everything. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It's been an amazing opportunity for me to chat to you and find out more. And thank you for inspiring others, because whether you know it or not, your story will do. And there are children out there that either want to get into sports or want to get into music. I know, like, I'm a musician myself, so, and I know a lot of kids that find music just the way that they can release their energy and just feel like the way they want to feel. Thanks for tuning in to the Disable the Label podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a comment to let us know what you thought of this episode. More episodes will be coming soon, so make sure you tune in. Don't forget you can download our app for free via the App Store. That's Google Play or Apple App Store. Just search Disable the Label and you'll find us.